You thought everything was fine until it wasn't. And the part that haunts you most isn't just that it happened, it's that you had no idea it was coming. You replayed the months leading up to it, searching for signs you missed, clues that should have told you something was wrong. And what's terrifying is that you can't find them. She seemed normal, maybe a little distant, maybe slightly more irritable, but nothing that screamed danger, nothing that made you think your entire life was about to detonate. And now you're standing in the wreckage, wondering how you lived next to someone for years, shared a bed with them, built a life with them, and completely failed to see that they were already gone, that they'd made decisions that would destroy everything you thought was solid. And they did it so quietly, so carefully, that you never suspected until the evidence was undeniable. The betrayal itself is devastating, but the blindness, the fact that it happened right in front of you and you saw nothing, that's what makes you question everything you thought you understood about yourself, about her, about reality itself. The reason men miss it, the reason you didn't see it coming, isn't because you're stupid or naive or deliberately ignorant. It's because you're operating from a fundamentally different framework than she is. When men are unhappy in a relationship, it shows immediately. They withdraw, they get angry, they pick fights, they check out emotionally in obvious ways. Their dissatisfaction is visible because they don't have the same social conditioning to hide it. They don't have the same skill at maintaining performance while internally detaching. But women, especially women who've been socialized to manage everyone's emotions, to keep things running smoothly, to avoid conflict, they can be profoundly unhappy while appearing completely functional. They can smile at you over breakfast while internally they've already left. They can have sex with you while emotionally they're with someone else. They can plan your anniversary dinner while simultaneously planning their exit. And because you're measuring her emotional state by the same metrics you'd use for yourself, because you assume that if something was seriously wrong you'd see it the way you'd see it in a man, you miss the signs entirely. You're reading the wrong language. What makes this even more insidious is that by the time you notice something's off, by the time the distance becomes obvious enough that even someone who's not paying close attention can sense it, the decision has usually already been made. She's not pulling away because she's considering leaving. She's pulling away because she's already left internally, and now she's just managing the logistics. Women tend to process the end of a relationship long before they announce it. They go through the grief, the anger, the bargaining, the acceptance, all of it privately, sometimes over months or years, while maintaining the external appearance of partnership. And then one day they simply inform you of a conclusion they reached ages ago, and you're left feeling ambushed, because from your perspective this came out of nowhere. But from her perspective, she's been telegraphing it for a long time. You just weren't fluent in the signals she was sending. The betrayal often starts not with another person, but with emotional withdrawal that you don't register as dangerous. She stops coming to you with her problems, stops seeking your opinion on things that matter to her, stops sharing the small details of her day. And because life is busy, because you're dealing with work and responsibilities and your own stress, you don't notice that the texture of your daily interactions has changed. You're still talking, but the conversations have become transactional, logistical, focused on schedules and responsibilities rather than connection. She's still there physically, still performing the role of wife, but the emotional intimacy that made the relationship real has quietly evaporated. And in that void, in that space where connection used to be, something else grows. Maybe it's resentment about things you didn't know bothered her. Maybe it's loneliness that she stopped trying to fix with you. Maybe it's just the slow realization that she doesn't feel seen or valued or prioritized, and rather than fight for that repeatedly and be disappointed, she simply stops expecting it and starts looking elsewhere. And here's the part that destroys men when they finally understand it. The affair, if there is one, often isn't about the other person being better than you. It's about him being present when you weren't, attentive when you were distracted, curious about her when you'd stopped asking questions. He didn't have to be exceptional, he just had to notice her, and noticing felt like oxygen after years of suffocation. She wasn't looking for someone to replace you, she was looking for someone to see her the way you used to before you got comfortable, before you stopped trying, before you started treating her presence as guaranteed rather than chosen. And he provided that, not because he's inherently more valuable, but because he was paying attention during a window when you weren't. You lost her not in some dramatic moment of failure, but in 1,000 small moments of neglect, moments that seemed insignificant at the time but accumulated into a distance so vast that by the time you noticed it, she'd already found someone standing on the other side. The signs were there. You just didn't know they were signs. She stopped initiating sex, and you told yourself she was tired or stressed or going through something hormonal. She stopped getting upset when you disappointed her, and you felt relieved that she was being more understanding, not realizing that understanding was actually resignation. She started going out more with friends, taking up hobbies that didn't include you, creating a life that functioned independently of your involvement, and you thought it was healthy that she had her own interests, not recognizing that she was building an exit ramp. She became less interested in your life, stopped asking follow-up questions, stopped engaging with the things you cared about, and you didn't notice because you were relieved not to have to explain yourself. Every sign that should have alarmed you got reinterpreted as something benign because you weren't looking for danger. You were assuming safety. And the cruelest part is that often she gave you chances to fix it before she gave up entirely. She mentioned feeling disconnected, feeling lonely, feeling like you were roommates instead of partners. And you heard it as nagging, as her being dramatic, as something that would blow over if you just waited it out. You didn't realize those complaints were emergency flares, last-ditch attempts to get you to wake up before she stopped trying. And when you dismissed them, when you minimized her feelings, when you promised to change and then didn't, you weren't just failing to address the problem, you were confirming to her that the problem was unfixable, that you either couldn't or wouldn't show up the way she needed, and that realization is what closed the door. Not anger, not hatred, just the exhausted acceptance that this is who you are and she needs to stop expecting different. By the time the betrayal becomes visible, by the time you catch the text message or notice the changed password or sense the lie in her explanation, the emotional affair has usually been going on for months. And what devastates you when you look back is realizing how many moments you missed, how many times she came home slightly different and you didn't ask why, how many nights she was distant and you just went to sleep instead of checking in. You were living parallel lives in the same house, both of you physically present but emotionally absent, and because you weren't unhappy in any acute way, because the routine was familiar and functional, you didn't realize the foundation was rotting underneath. You thought stability meant health, not recognizing that sometimes stability is just two people who've stopped bothering to connect, coexisting out of habit rather than choice. What makes the aftermath so psychologically brutal is that you can't even hate her cleanly because part of you knows you contributed to this. Not the betrayal itself, that's her responsibility, her choice, her moral failing. But the conditions that made the betrayal possible, the emotional neglect, the taking her for granted, the assumption that she'd always be there no matter how little effort you put in, that's on you. And sitting with that, sitting with the knowledge that you had opportunities to prevent this, and you squandered them because you were comfortable, because you thought you had time, because you didn't believe she'd actually leave, that's a unique kind of torment. You're grieving the relationship and simultaneously grieving your own blindness, your own complacency, your own failure to protect something you valued once you stopped feeling like you had to earn it. The men who survive this, who eventually rebuild, they do it by learning to read the language they missed before. They learn that silence isn't peace, it's often surrender. They learn that a partner who stops complaining hasn't necessarily become happy. They might have just stopped believing complaints will change anything. They learn to pay attention to withdrawal, to distance, to the small shifts in daily texture that signal something deeper is wrong. They learn that relationships don't die in explosions. They die in erosions, in tiny moments of disconnection that compound over time until the gap becomes unbridgeable. And they learn that maintaining a relationship requires the same intentionality as building one, that you can't coast on history, that presence and attention and genuine curiosity aren't optional extras, they're the substance that keeps connection alive. That's the lesson, painful and expensive as it was. You don't get to stop trying just because someone married you. You don't get to assume they'll stay just because they're still physically there. And you don't get to be surprised when neglect produces exactly what neglect always produces, The quiet exit of someone who stopped believing you'd ever truly see them.